Welcome to Piano Video Lessons. I'm Lisa, and in this lesson, we're going to be polishing up our Minuet in F. This is the stage 3 of practicing this piece. It's a grade 1 level Baroque piece, and we're in Unit 9 at pianovideolessons.com. This is also Unit 2 of Year 2. In this lesson, we're going to be working on the tempo, the memorization, and also the style of this piece, so that we can give it a real Baroque minuet style. And you can click the info card if you want to get your own copy of the ebook for Unit 9. It also includes your practice plan, some information about Baroque music, and a study guide for this minuet. So we already have this piece learned. So if you don't, then you should go back to the first lesson where all of the pencil markings and marker markings have appeared on this piece. In lessons 1 and 2, we became accurate on the notes, rhythm, and fingering. Then we added in articulation, dynamics, and keeping the tempo steady. And now we're ready to really turn this piece into one of our repertoire pieces, which means we're getting it ready to perform. So let's talk about the appropriate tempo for this piece. It is a minuet, which is an elegant dance, and it says to play it allegretto, and it marks 108 as the tempo. So we want to make sure that our tempo counting is around that speed, and a metronome is a great way to work on keeping your tempo steady, or even just to check the tempo that you're playing at. So go ahead and check out the metronome speed of 108 for this piece. So I'm just going to clap 108 so that you can get the sense of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, you don't have to play exactly 108 beats per measure, or per minute. 108 beats per minute. There's 3 beats per measure. But 1, 2, 3 is Now, practice it at a speed that makes you feel good. If it feels a little too quick for you, you want it to be something that feels allegretto. This would also be fine. It's slightly slower, but it still has the feeling of allegretto, which means a little bit quick. A little bit quick. Imagine people are dancing this minuet. They want to feel the 1, 2, 3. That takes us into our next element, which is the flavor or the character or style of this piece. It's a dance, so we want to make sure that it feels like a dance. A 1, 2, 3, 1. Instead of like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. We want to feel 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now, the left hand is really helping out with that idea because it starts on beat 1. So it's automatically adding a little bit of weight there, but you can just give a little more push. If we were conducting this, it would go 1, 2, 3. You can see the down. 1, 2, 3. Pulling that first beat down. So it's a heavier sounding beat. So that's one thing that we can do to improve the style of this piece, and the other one is to memorize it. When we memorize music, we incorporate it into our being. We don't need the music to play it, it's just something that is in us. We can make it come out whenever we decide to. So memorizing the piece can take on many forms. And one of the things that a lot of people rely on when memorizing is they rely on their finger memory. And that's only one aspect of memorization. We also need to make sure that we have analytical memory. And analytical memory just means that we know in our mind what's coming next. And we can also have oral memory, which means we know what it sounds like. We can also have visual memory, which means we know what it looks like when our hands move around on the keys. Some people learn a piece just with visual memory by watching someone else play it by rote. So these are 4 different components of memorization. The tactile aspect with your fingers, the analytical involving your brain, the oral involving the sound of the piece, and the visual involving maybe even what it looks like on the page. If you have a little bit of a, I won't say photographic memory, but if you can sort of see the page in your mind and know whereabouts you are, that's a helpful aspect of memorization. So, using the analytical aspect, let's see what we can do to make this piece easier to memorize. One thing is the left hand is just going to come down those 4 notes, and then it goes up and then skip. So it takes us right back to that F again, and then this next line comes down the same thing, but then we hop down and back up. So memorizing the left hand alone is a really helpful thing to do because that also comes into the oral aspect of the piece. We often hear the melody prominently in our minds, but we don't often hear what's going on in this left hand's line. But if we memorize the left hand alone, then we'll have this sense of what the left hand is supposed to be doing at any given time. Also, you can memorize little chunks of the piece. So being able to drop in and just play line 2, for example. So I'll try that right now. So I was watching my hands while I did that, and I was thinking my way through it. So it started on F, and then it went down, and then it goes down, and down. And I ended up on the lower F. So from here, I did a bit of a scale. I backed up, a little bit of a stutter, and then I kept on going down the scale. So that line takes us down from F to F. The left hand is doing that up to F. So they're working opposite each other. And right here, we practiced this a lot in an earlier stage. So we probably almost memorized what's happening in there when we took it apart. Now this line is pretty easy to memorize on its own because it's just moving down. As we learned in our note flashes, we learned that we're just going down from one position to the next. The left hand is also just going down, starting with thumb. So this line, just following each other down, and then that last one has its own ending. And then the last line, we could also memorize what's going on here. So we're going to start on that leap. We've already worked on that with countdown, so I bet we know exactly where to start that by memory. And then we're going up, and then we're pulling down to that tonic note. So take some time to study the music and see what you can find in terms of patterns and fingering and what's happening in the left hand and watching your hands moving around the piano. You know, is it going down from F to F? Is it moving down? Is it moving in octaves? Start to expect what the look is of your hands moving on the piano keys. So once you have got this piece moving at a little bit of an allegretto tempo, and you've added that nice down beat with a 1 on it, and you've memorized it, you've finished learning the piece. Congratulations! Put this piece on your repertoire list and add it into the cycle of pieces that you review on a regular basis. All right, so I am going to play this piece for you one more time, and in our last lesson of Unit 9, we're going to learn another bourrée, this one by Christoph Graupner. So I'll see you in the next video.